music video review live from Nuremberg, Germany. Tonight on Monday with a very exciting special event. Tonight we are going to be watching and ranking paint throwing videos. As far as I know, this is the first time in the history of the world that thrown paint videos have been ranked. Let's get right to the criteria for tonight's judging. Thrown paint music video judging criteria is as follows. Number 1, paint importance. What that means is, in the context of the video, how important is the paint? Is the paint throwing just a side story, just a secondary narrative? Or is the paint throwing the focus of the video? Very important criteria. Paint prevalence. When we're looking at a scene in the video at any given moment, how much paint do we see on the background, on the performers, on the equipment? Related but not exactly the same, we have paint coverage. And this is specifically referring to the performers and their equipment. By the end of any given video, we want to see the performers and their equipment completely covered in paint. Completely covered in paint. Okay? In this particular situation, when we are ranking thrown paint videos, the paint is more important than the music. What that means is, if we have a music video and by the end of the video they have reached all of these other criteria, the entire scene is covered in paint, the performer is covered in paint, the equipment is covered in paint, but the song was terrible, they're still going to get a pretty good rating. And finally, wet paint is more important than powdered paint. If a performer is using powdered paint, they're going to get about 50% of their points deducted automatically. That's just how it is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the performers that we're going to see who are using powdered paint in their videos. Then we need to look at the ranking system. So anybody familiar with ranking, tier ranking on live streams will know this sort of a chart. It's a tier ranking chart in which we are going to be ranking all of the videos you see here on the bottom. We have the ranking system cleared up. The only thing left to do is get started because we have a lot of videos to watch. Here comes Second Go with Lights, our first thrown paint video of the night. Go! She asked, how can you love me when I'm ugly? Girl, your ugliness is not a factor. We're only looking at the paint. So far, this is all a little bit too under control with the brushes. This video needs to get a lot sloppier if it's going to get a high ranking. There we go. That's the kind of sloppy paint goodness we're looking for. She's going back to brushes, and we've only got a little more than a minute left in this video. We need to see some serious paint action now. Well, it did get a lot better by the end, but still, I mean, look at this scene. Even covered by ads, you see a lot of white. Okay. To be fair, she was on the other side of that wall, but even in that room, a lot of white. It got better by the end. It was wet paint, and it was the only storyline. The paint was the only storyline. But in the other areas, it really kind of fell short. I'm going to go with a C because this rating is going to influence every other rating of the night. Second video of the night in the ranking of thrown paint music videos will be Let Go for Tonight by Foxes. Let's be honest here, this song is really boring and I haven't seen any paint yet. Not sloppy enough. This here? No. Fell from the sky. Okay, well, I don't think we need to watch to the end. We have a very good idea of the paint coverage, the paint prevalence, and so on. As we see, if we preview the end of the video, it doesn't get any better. So let's go to the ranking. I'm not feeling a very strong score on this one. I was thinking D, but I could feel an E. Video number 3, Flawless by MercyMe. Here we go. The criteria that I announced in the beginning of the stream are not the only criteria. There are additional criteria that we will have to decide on a case-by-case basis. Now, on this video, we will have to decide when the video's over if starting covered in paint and only having gray paint are negatives. Think about that. Keep it in mind. Now, see this guy, it's not sloppy enough. It's pretty obviously just been smeared on his face because he doesn't have any in his T-zone. Okay, I believe I see the concept here. Are we removing all the paint? Oh no. The fuck is this shit? Let me introduce you to Grace. Is this a Christian band? I think it is. Okay, well, we don't need to watch anymore because the paint's not coming back. So I hadn't even considered the possibility that a video would be covered, that the performers would be covered in paint at the start of a video and they would be perfectly clean at the end of the video. So I guess we're going to have to consider how covered in paint they were at the beginning. And it was okay, but it wasn't really enough. And more importantly, the paint was not important enough in the video. MercyMe, you're getting an F. Let's move on. Let's rank some paint throwing. Here comes Flyleaf all around me. So, first of all, we need to mention that in this video, we're getting some very good coverage on the walls, but we're going to have to make some really controversial decisions at the end of the video. I remember this video from back in the day, and I know how it ends. So we're going to have some hard decisions to make. Okay, look at this. We are 2 minutes into the video, and the singer has not had a drop of paint on her. Not looking good for Flyleaf. There, she had some paint on her feet, but is that going to be enough to save Flyleaf in the ranking? You know, some pretty major drawbacks for Flyleaf, some serious negative points. The coverage on the background was excellent, as we can see. It's completely covered. The singer, almost no paint on her. She had a little bit on her hand. She had some on her feet, but that's just not enough. And the band members, the other members who did get some paint on them, it just wasn't enough. I think we're not going to see a great score for Flyleaf. I would say it's better than Fox's. I'm putting Flyleaf in the D category. Moving along, we're throwing paint and taking names or something. So here we have a song in German. Mein Herz ist Gift für dich from Fräulein Wunder. You know, full disclosure, I love this song. Anyway, let's have it. Fräulein Wunder. Real quick, this is something I have never understood. This video, this is the same video that they uploaded when the song was popular, like 15 years ago. So that explains the 480p, but the formatting is wrong. The formatting's been wrong the entire time. Okay, I needed to stop it here because we need to make note of how terribly unhappy she is with the paint on her face. Look at her. She's miserable. She hates it. That's a plus point. As much as I love that song and the nostalgia that it invokes in me from that time living in Berlin, I think it came out in 2004, so it's 20 years old. In terms of being a paint throwing video, not great. Not great. I mean, the paint only comes in 2/3 of the way through the video. It's a secondary story. The coverage is very bad. There's no paint on the background. There's only paint on the performers and their equipment. I'm going to have to give it a D. I'm sorry. Fräulein Wunder, I'm so sorry. I love you so much and I hope you're doing well, but I have to give you a D in terms of paint throwing. Paint throwing video. Next up, here comes a video that I've watched. I watched in preparation for this stream, and I think it has some pretty good potential to get a very high score. It's called Knots by Lisa Hannigan. Let's have it. Okay, it's going really well for this video. The coverage on Lisa Hannigan is getting very good. It's increasing. The paint is coming from multiple directions, which I hadn't even considered as a criteria, but that is a big plus. Excellent. She moved the ukulele so they could get some paint on her boobs. Good thinking. Oh, and the paint is coming even stronger now. Big slops of paint. Really good. This is definitely the best one we've seen so far. Really good. Great coverage. It was the only storyline. It was all over the place. It was covering the background. It was covering the performer and her equipment. Really, really good. This is going to get a very good score. I don't know how we can see something better than that, really. If we see something better than that, I would be shocked. And for that reason, I'm putting Lisa Hannigan all the way up in S. Our first S of the evening. Is it going to be our only S? I hope not. Here comes Cobra Style from Robin. Okay, please note Robin has no paint on her to this point. And powdered paint. Big minus points. Sorry, Robin. Powdered paint makes a good effect in the video, but it's really non-committal, you know? I want to see people really going for it. I want to see liquid paint everywhere. That video had some okay coverage. Like a lot of the backup musicians had paint on their equipment, on themselves, but Robin had far too little paint on her. There was too little paint on the background. There was no paint on the floor. I think this is not going to get the strongest ranking. You know, I think that was about as good as Lights. Okay, we'll give it a B. Here comes the granddaddy of paint throwing videos from way back in the day, from 1981 or 82. J. Geils Band, Freeze Frame, go! Freeze Frame! There we go. That's some sloppy paint slopping. There we go. There, look at how unhappy he is getting this paint. Look at him. He's miserable. A classic, not just from the early MTV era, but from the paint throwing canon. However, having said that, I don't think it was particularly great in terms of our criteria regarding throwing paint. My apologies to J. Geils, Peter Wolf, Seth Justman, Magic Dick, and the other two guys, but we're going D. We're going D on J. Geils. Whew. Here comes Fidelity from Regina Spektor.
Shook it up. Breaks my heart.
Well, we only watched about a minute total in that one, and that's all we needed to see. The paint is a side story. It only comes at the very end. The coverage is terrible, and worst of all, it's powdered paint. So, I'm sorry, Regina, but, you know, have fun with Mercy Me in the F category. So we have two OK Go videos here in this competition. because they throw paint around a lot. They throw paint around willy-nilly. The first one is called The One Moment. Well, you know, those guys are known for doing really elaborate music videos, and this is no exception, but in terms of the criteria on which we're judging for throwing paint music videos, I'm afraid that this one falls pretty far short. I think the first OK Go, I'm giving it an E. Giving it an E. Here we go. He wasn't. Avril Lavigne next up in our Throwing Paint music video ranking special event. Okay, the paint only comes in at the very end. We're going to skip way ahead and just watch the last 30 seconds. Well, it was pretty inventive the way they first broke the wall for the paint to come shooting through, but otherwise, pretty poor paint throwing video in every way. And for that reason, we are also putting Avril Lavigne in the E category. Okay, here comes another one that I think has some pretty good potential for a good score. It's called Cupid by The Big Moon. Well, I thought it was going to be a lot better than that in terms of paint throwing. I'm a little bit disappointed, actually. The paint parts were pretty good. There was good amount of paint. There was good coverage, but there was a lot of other stuff that was being thrown around, confetti and streamers, whatever. Okay, let's say B for Big Moon. And now we come to our second OK Go video. This isn't enough paint. That's it. That's all we get. That was not good enough. No. Sorry. OK Go. F! The brand new video from Red Cross, Candy Colored Catastrophe. At the end there, the paint coverage and the paint being thrown was okay. It was okay. I think we're going to have to give that... I mean, it's definitely not as good as Big Moon. Or was it? I mean, I would say it's probably got about the same amount of paint as Big Moon or Robin. But I would say it's probably better than Lights. So I'm going to have to say B. Red Cross gets a B. And here comes A Pillar of Salt from the Thermals. Well, it's liquid paint, and the coverage is okay. It's nothing to write home about. But the paint also comes in only at the very end. I'm afraid we're going to have to put you at E, just based on the amount of paint in the video. Like, that's the main thing that's getting you negative points. You know, think about it next time. Think about putting more paint in your video. Here comes Said and Done from Wild Wonder. So the musicians and their equipment are obviously not getting any paint on them.
Lord, do you love me?
Yeah, we can see where this is going. I think it's time to call it. The band and their equipment have no paint on them whatsoever. The paint is all on these two, and the coverage isn't very good. Sorry, Wild Wonder, but that's just not going to cut it in the world of paint throwing music videos. You get an F. Here comes Chemistry from the Bang Bang Club. Go.
We can depend on. We pretend.
The coverage is pretty good on the performers. We don't see any equipment. There's no paint in the background. The paint is a sort of a side story. So, Bang Bang Club. It's an E, I think. It's an E. Here comes Kesha with Take It Off. I'm going to jump ahead to the paint part. That wasn't even paint, it was CGI. That was also CGI. And now, in the real world, it's powdered paint. Some real minus points for using CGI powdered paint. That's even worse than real powdered paint. Too much CGI paint in this. No, it's not looking good for Kesha. Was it as bad as Mercy Me, Regina Spektor, OK Go, or Wild Wonder? Or was it more in line with these? You're getting an F, Kesha. Sorry, that's an F. Here we have I Don't Know What to Do by Tico's Groove featuring Gosha. Okay, we're getting some good liquid paint coverage, but it's clearly not on the artists. And the song is really bad.
Don't know what to do. I can probably say.
Well, we had some pretty good coverage of liquid paint on the models and the background. However, the paint was not the main story. The people being covered by paint were not the artists. Their equipment was also not being covered by paint. I think it gets an F also, partially because it was so sexist. Here we go. Final video of the competition. Will it unseat Lisa Hannigan for the top video in the Throne Paint Wars? Probably not, but let's see. Here comes War Paint by Undivided.
When hundreds stand against you.
Well, the paint was not the main story, pretty clearly. But the paint coverage in the paint part of the video was pretty good. I feel like obviously it's nowhere near the greatness, the paint throwing greatness of that Lisa Hannigan video. I also don't think it's better than Robin Big Moon or Red Cross. I think it's kind of on the same level as Lights. So we're going to go with that. And there we have it. Everybody make a screenshot for your records. This is the official ranking of paint throwing music videos. Lisa Hannigan handily defeats the competition. No question that she was the winner in this competition. So that's it. We did it. We ranked the 20 throwing paint videos that I could find. And with that, we're going to wrap it up.